All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Give me a touch on the top prop bets in the NBA today. But first, we're going to get into a recap of yesterday. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Let's jump into it. So guys, yesterday ended up going 24-38 on the day. So not the best day. Did get a little bit unlucky here with the Milwaukee Bucks, where it was saying that Bobby Portis was going to be out, and then he ended up playing, which did end up really hurting the Brook Lopez points, rebounds, and assists. And I would argue Giannis as well. Giannis was able to make up for that in different spots. But then we talk about some of the bigger edges that we had. RJ Barrett really crushed his over assist. I mentioned that was just such a strange line that we had. De'Aaron Fox kind of seemed like DeMar DeRozan would sit it, just logical that he would sit, and we ended up getting a massive edge there. His line ended up being 30.5 on the day, so regardless if you guys end up betting that, that still hit. The one annoying one was Jason Tatum, where he didn't get his over points, especially because that game went into OT. Now, because that game went into OT, because Vegas was wrong about that game, the prize picks props really struggled. I mean, it was a 16.5 point spread. That game ended up going to OT. So clearly Vegas was just wrong about that game. Now, guys, I got to share this bad beat with you as well. This was painful. Okay, so I mentioned we had a couple of really big middles yesterday where we just kind of had to bet both sides of it. Ashton Genty was one. He ended up hitting right in the middle, which was what was expected. And then Hunter Dickinson. And this one is tilting. Look at this, guys. 41.8 to his fantasy score of 41.8 if you were to round up. But the annoying part here is that this cashed for a good like 20 to 30 minutes up until the final stats came in after the game had been completed. And then we just missed out on this. I didn't see which stat was added, but that was annoying because the middle had hit for both of these, and we got that taken away from us. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the prize picks board that we have today. Again, we do have a lot of good NFL bets. If you guys want to place any of these bets for the NFL, go ahead and do that. I do just want to call it Pat Freiermuth as well. This is one I called out on the NFL Sunday props video. His line is very interesting because his fantasy score on prize picks is set at 6. PrizePicks is not accounting for him getting a touchdown at all. They have his reception line set at 3 and his yardage total at like 29.5. Whereas we take a peek at Underdog, not a big difference here, guys. They're heavily giving him the chance to get 3 receptions there as well. So that's 1.5 points right there. His receiving yards at 28.5. It's about 4.5 points. So they're highly accounting for a touchdown, basically is what this is telling me. So an interesting line there that I wanted to call out to you guys. Then we are getting some other ones that are popping up here, a couple of college basketball ones, but this is an NBA video. So let's go ahead and jump on into the NBA bets that we have today. Now, I do want to go game by game for this slate. So we have Phoenix versus Minnesota. So Phoenix is still without Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal is out as well. And so because of that, they've kind of all just been struggling. We're not getting that many bets here for the Suns as well. We're really just getting Tyus Jones, Yusuf Nurkic, and also Devin Booker. But all the lines that we're getting here are all pretty much correct. They just haven't been playing well this year without Kevin Durant. And so I don't really want to mess around with that. And then we jump into the best prop bet that we're getting on the day today is actually Jaden McDaniels to get under his fantasy score. This one has a 55% edge, one of the biggest edges that we'll have. The day is heavily kind of favoring the under at 20.75 for his fantasy score. I would assume that has to do with this game being a potential blowout again with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal off the court. That just increases the likelihood there. Kind of lower scoring game as well at 219. And for Daniels, we do notice that this is going to be a more difficult matchup for him going against Phoenix. His minutes have been a little bit sporadic as well, kind of getting into foul trouble as well. Obviously, if he gets into foul trouble, that's going to be beneficial for us. But his production has been pretty good lately. And so even, with getting in foul trouble. So I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with this one. I don't exactly see why this one's popping up that much. I mean, Mike Conley was out on Friday, but it's a weird line. I think it's just due to the matchup and due to the blow-up potential. So not exactly one I feel the need to go out of my way to target. And then from there, just kind of blah, I guess is the best way to sum it up with the rest of the bets there. So let's go ahead and jump on into the next game. And another game where I don't feel like we exactly need to go out of our way to target any of these bets. Now, we do have Tyler Hero for over assist. I would agree with the over here. You kind of look at his per 36 production with Jimmy Butler off the court. he typically does get that over. So I don't hate that. Terry Rozier is someone that we expect to start to play better. He just hasn't played all too well thus far this year, especially with Jimmy Butler off the court. So like not terrible. This is kind of a pace up spot as well, about 228 for the game total there as well. So like I think these go hand in hand. That's a decent way to go about stacking this game if you guys wanted to. But other than that, not too much there for Miami. And then some decent edges if you guys want to kind of game stack this game. Miles Turner over fantasy scores all right. Obviously, the projection data really likes him there at about 36. You look at his average sportsbook line, about 32.5, so kind of off by 1 compared to what PrizePicks is valuing him at. So not terrible there. We do have Ben Shepherd to get over 6.5 points as well. Definitely an interesting one there. The only one I kind of like there would be Miles Turner to get over his fantasy score. We can see last game against Miami, though, this very last game, only 23 there for him. So not exactly a direct spot that I feel like we need to be targeting. So now we jump into Charlotte versus Cleveland, guys. And man, as a Bucks fan, that game was very tilting. It seems like they don't believe in conspiracy theories too much, but the phantom fouls on Giannis the last 2 games, kind of interesting, makes you think. Just 2 terrible calls that anyone watching the game knows they're bad. That was weird. I don't know if you guys haven't seen it. LaMelo trip, they call the foul on Giannis, and that was the reason why they lost. Very, very annoying there. Anyways, they are coming in off of a kind of a high there, the Charlotte Hornets, in that game. I don't really exactly see them playing all too well in this game, even with Cleveland being banged up. And we'll mention that I don't really like any of these bets here for Charlotte, but we jump into Cleveland, and I kind of like some of the lines that we are getting for Cleveland. It's going to be more of kind of like traditional bets rather than PrizePicks bets. But I do like kind of some of the spots that we are getting here. So let's start with Darius Garland. So guys, Darius Garland, I kind of like all the lines that we're getting on him today. Because with Donovan Mitchell off the court, Garland does get a pretty big bump in usage, but gets a bump in his points. So he averages 6 more points per 36 with Mitchell off the court to about 28 points per 36 with Donovan Mitchell off the court, 2.6 rebounds, 9.1 assists, a 28% usage rate, and 48 fantasy points per 36. And so obviously this game being a blowout, that is a little bit of a concern, but he is definitely someone that should be able to benefit with him off the court. I like most of his overs. I'm interested to see what his fantasy scoreline comes out to be, because I just don't think they're going to be able to properly value him on this slate. So from there, let's talk about Karis LeVert. So LeVert is also someone that should benefit a decent amount. Now, we're not really getting that many lines for him just yet, but he does average 22.4 points per 36, 4.8 rebounds, 7.8 assists, 20% usage rate, so pretty decent, and 46 fantasy points per 36. We do see his game log, though. It is kind of rare for him to get to 30 minutes in general, so we need to take that number down a little bit, but he is someone that his production is a little bit shot dependent, but I think we could get a good assist or points and assist line on him. So just be on the lookout for that, guys. Like, we're not getting any lines for him just yet, but he is someone I do think will benefit. And then lastly, Jared Allen as well. Jared Allen actually does benefit surprisingly well with him off the court. Donovan Mitchell, that is. So he averages 21.3 points per 36. So a big increase there. 14.4 rebounds, so a decent increase there. Assists go up 3.1, and then he averages 46 fantasy points per 36. And so the biggest issue is that he probably won't get 36 minutes. He's only averaging about 31 on the season, projected to get 32. Again, this game has a chance to be a blowout, so a little bit of a concern there, I guess. But all in all, he should be someone that does benefit a decent amount with Mitchell off the court. And I don't mind kind of stacking both Garland and Allen together. Now, the issue with Jared Allen is it can be a random Evan Mobley game or vice versa. That's kind of the issue with those guys. So I don't think we need to go crazy with that. So I do really like the edges, though, that we are getting for Darius Garland. So we have another game that should be a pretty good spot for us, and that's going to be Atlanta versus Portland. So Portland is going to be pretty thin, and I think we're going to get some nice edges there. The data kind of disagrees with my analysis of it, but definitely interesting. We are seeing Clint Capella for under his fantasy score be the best line here. The issue with Atlanta is kind of that they've been spreading out their minutes for the bigs, and so Clint Capella, if he is going to get 22 minutes in this game, he probably will get the under. But at the same time, if we're doing that, I kind of like the idea of betting on Onyeka Okongwu to get his over. Like, PRA is the best bet here. So, like, I think those go kind of hand in hand. Now, he has been crushing lately, and this is a pretty good matchup for him, especially with Portland being banged up. But again, it is a lot of production for a guy that's really just not getting that many minutes. So hopefully he doesn't get the minutes, and hopefully it hits. That's basically the summary of it. Now, the crazy thing to me about this line is how close the game is, honestly. 3.5 points, that's a little bit surprising, again, with how banged up Portland is. And so we jump into Portland, guys. I think these are big edges. And so why are they big edges? Because they're going to be without DeAndre Ayton, most likely. He's a game-time decision. Don't need the Bobby Portis stuff happening again, but he's expected to sit. And then we also have Simons out. And so players that benefit a ton, Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson, and also Donovan Clingan. Now, I do worry that Donovan could potentially get into foul trouble. He's only projected to get 20 minutes in this game. I would argue that's probably wrong. I would argue he's probably going to get more run than that. But that's going to be the theme with all of Portland, is that we're betting on the minutes to definitely increase, to definitely be higher than what they're projected to get. And if they do, we are getting some pretty big edges. So Scoot Henderson is someone that does benefit with, obviously, Simons off the court. He gets a bump in his usage rate. Has a 25% usage rate with him off the court. Averages 39, almost 40 fantasy points per 36. Now we see he's only projected to get 28. I would argue that that could potentially be wrong. I kind of like all the lines that we're getting on Scoot. It's a good matchup for him. Okay, going up against Atlanta, who's about the 27th easiest matchup, or what, about the third easiest matchup is the way I should phrase it. He is someone that has already been getting around 27 or so minutes. If this game stays close, like Vegas is thinking, he could get closer to 30 minutes in this game, maybe 32, like we saw him get against Minnesota. Now, we are clearly betting on him getting that increase in his role and an increase in minutes. We need that to happen, but I do think it will. Again, pretty good matchup here as well. Another player that benefits is Sharpe. So Sharpe is someone that, again, we do need the minutes to be there. 28 minutes. Let's just round up 29 minutes is what he's projected to get. If he does get that, I do expect him to be able to have a good game here. His per 36 production is insane. He gets a 10% bump in his usage rate with Simons and Ayton off the court. Averages 25 points per 36, 4.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, not dishing it out too much, and 34 fantasy points per 36. And I do think it's interesting to call out his fantasy score is favored for the under, okay? And that's because his line, the average sportsbook line, is set at 28. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. We have some big differences between how Vegas sees this going and kind of how I see it going. Like, I don't mind the idea, I guess, betting with Vegas. We could kind of stack it. We're betting Clint Capella under fantasy score, Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, and even, I guess that'd probably be it. I don't mind that, but I think it's better to chase kind of the overs, betting on this game being close, kind of like how well Vegas thinks it's going to go as well. 3.5 point spread, and it's a high scoring game as well, 231. So like, it's weird. It's weird, and I get it. It's the minutes. Again, like Scoot only getting 27 minutes. Grant gets a good matchup. He's probably the one we can bank on the most, getting to 36 minutes or so. He struggled in his last game, though, 3 for 12. Maybe that's a good thing. Coming in off of a poor night shooting, we can expect him to have a better night shooting. We look at Sharpe, guys. Sharpe, again, gets a good matchup there going against Atlanta. He's someone that did get a bunch of run in the last game, and he's someone that I like betting the idea on him continuing to get those minutes. And if he does, his points line that we're getting, I think is a great one. His fantasy score line is one that I like as well. So I don't like the fact that Vegas is disagreeing with me there, but I think that's a spot where we can gain an edge by doing that. And then Clingan here as well. Let's take a peek at him. It's not like he didn't get 30 minutes in that last game, so I'm betting on the projected minutes one being wrong, but also Vegas kind of agrees with those projected minutes, so I'm really just trying to bet on those being wrong. And if they are, guys, this is kind of my general sportsbook bet that I liked. Again, just showing you guys on Underdog because it's just easier there. They have their lines out earlier, so that's typically, I bet on Underdog first just to show you guys what my favorite bets are for the full day, and then show you guys what the data is telling us is the best bet slip on PrizePicks later. And so Sharpe, I don't mind his over PRA. Again, averages like 25 points per 36. We've seen him get 36 minutes lately. Clingan, if he gets 30 minutes, again, he should be able to get this over. Averages 14.3 points per 36 and 11 rebounds per 36. So I think that's a good one for us. And then Garland, again, with Mitch off the court, averages 6 more points per 36, and I think he has a good chance to get those minutes. And then Scoot Henderson is probably the one that's the most hit or miss. We need those minutes to be increased. And then we do see this other one here, Jalen Williams, to get over rebounds and assists. So let's jump into that. All right, so looking at the lines that we're getting for Jalen Williams, I kind of like all of them. This is on PrizePicks, so I'm just showing you guys here. But looking at, I kind of like all the lines that we're getting on him. Again, with OKC, they are a little bit banged up. They're going to be without Chet Holmgren still. They're still without Alex Caruso. And so Jalen Williams is someone that, kind of has been playing the 5, benefits having to play at the 5 as well. He is someone that averages 8 rebounds per 36 and 6.3 assists per 36. And so that's a good call out of why I like the over 11.5 rebounds and assists. Now, I think it's worth calling out that Vegas is really expecting him to get the under 5.5 assists, and same thing with his rebounds. It's at 6.5. They're expecting him to get the under. I kind of like those as plus bets. I know Sleeper has their Sunday scoops out. If you guys want to bet on Jalen Williams, see it as over assists there or over rebounds there as like a one slip bet. Decent payout there. I like that idea. That's worth calling out. SGA should be benefiting more. He just hasn't been lately. If you guys look at his like per game lately, he averages about 35.7 points per 36 with Holmgren off the court. And again, a 38% usage rate. So pretty massive there. So I do think that's still worth calling out. I don't mind the idea of betting on him to have a good game. I don't mind the idea of stacking Jalen Williams and SGA together. Maybe that game stays a little bit closer than what Vegas is thinking. It is a 5-point spread. So that's not really crazy at all. And guys, this video is starting to go a little bit long, so I'm just going to show you guys the rest of the bets that are popping up on the big board right now in terms of the best bets. I'm kind of okay with DFS for over 1.5 threes made. We are starting to get down to 53% likely to hit those, so don't exactly love that. We are seeing a decent prop line difference for Aldama between PrizePicks and Underdog. This would tell us that, yeah, the over is favored here at 15.5, but probably want to bet the under on Underdog at 16.5. That's probably the better bet there just because all the other data points are giving us that. So not terrible there. Let's see. Mike Conley under fantasy score. Don't exactly need to bet that one. And yeah, it's kind of just a tighter board as it sits right now with all those other bets that we are getting. It's worth calling out Jokic is potentially going to sit tonight. I'm kind of expecting him back, but he has been out for personal reasons. We do know that Jamal Murray gets a big increase in his workload. Michael Porter Jr., I would expect to have a good game, and then Russell Westbrook as well. Those are all players that benefit. And so before I get into my final prize picks bet of the day, do just want to remind you guys of the promo code that's going on the website. Use promo code Keep Cash and get 20% off your first 9 to 5 month membership. Take advantage of that, guys. So looking at my bet of the day, it is going to be concentrated on the potential value that we have here with Portland. I touched on in depth with kind of my thoughts on this. Vegas is telling us one thing, and I kind of say they're wrong, betting on the minutes being there for them, thus this game being a close game and it being a high-scoring game. And if that happens, I like this stack that we have here. I like betting on this game. And again, the nice part about betting on fantasy score is the fact that these bets should correlate. Game stays close, game's high-scoring game, and we're not getting a reduced payout. So that's kind of my way of attacking it right now. As the day progresses, we'll get more and more bets. And so, obviously we're going to have better bets that pop up on the cheat sheet. And typically speaking, guys, we do not want to be chasing these minus EV bets. That's exactly what this is. I want to make that clear. I'm just saying that because of the spot that we have, because it's early on in the season, I'm hoping that I'm more correct than Vegas here. That's basically it. And the more times we do something like this, the worse it's going to get. Just as an FYI, betting against Vegas, not a good thing, typically speaking. But again, I think we do have a slight edge here. So that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a bunch. If you guys want access to the tools and the boards updating throughout the day, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those for just $10 a month. Comment your guys' favorite bet as well if you have one. That's going to be all, guys. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.